Because money's a very important piece. It's not the only piece of life. It brings up all of the things that we want to have and also brings up the barriers that stop us from having what we want to have. Conformity took the place of creativity to help uncover the genius. Not create it, because it's already there. That's important. It's already there. You got it. The reason I created it, reason we created it, is because I'm looking for my own, right? It's not that you stop making mistakes. You just make smaller ones, but you make them really fast and you correct them. Kind of like become closer to what you're supposed to be doing. Now your job is to help other people find theirs.
¿Qué tal, Moneymakers? Bienvenidos a una nueva entrevista. Yo soy su host, Iker Capistrán, y es un gusto estar aquí con ustedes en una nueva edición de Héroes Podcast. Y hoy traigo un verdadero héroe que ha sido uno de los pioneros en todo este movimiento financiero, educación financiera, crecimiento en ventas, crecimiento de negocios. No habla español, pero aquí abajo les vamos a poner todos los subtítulos para que puedan entender qué es lo que se está hablando. Entonces, con el día de ustedes, Blair Singer. Blair, how are you?
Thank you, Iker. It's great to be here. Great to be here. I'm feeling great. We're doing a great program, and it's going really well.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the space. It's very important for us to have you on Heroes podcast.
Thanks.
So for all these, the community is called the Moneymakers. So can you tell a quick summary of who's Blair Singer?
Moneymakers, Blair Singer. Well, Blair Singer started as the son of a dairy farmer somewhere in Ohio in the middle of America. And I realized that working on a farm for the rest of my life like my father did, I was not going to do that. And so it became a quest of how can I find the best of myself? How can I get rich? How can, typical stuff. How do I do that? I traveled all over the world. I left Ohio, went to Hawaii. That's where I met Robert Kiyosaki, one of my best friends now. Met him in 1983. Right. We went on this journey together about, how to become financially, emotionally, and spiritually rich. How to do it all. And it's just been a priceless journey that I'm now here in Mexico City, just sharing some of the things that we've learned over the years.
That's great. So the first thing is you're one of the best friends of Robert Kiyosaki. What's the experience of being his friend and also creating alongside with him?
Well, Robert and I have had a very close relationship, but it's a very different kind of relationship. We're avid students. We love to study. We love to study personal growth. Primarily, we love to study money. We love to study how we can just become better, And so one of the things we've worked side by side, and I was one of the first Rich Dad advisors, but really we've made it kind of a vow that we do joint ventures and things together, but we don't put our businesses together. Okay, and because I think that would be unfair, because he is such a generous person, and he wants to help so much that sometimes it gets a little overbearing. And I don't want him to have that responsibility. So we've had a very close but arm's distance relationship, which has been great over the years. And I share things with him. He shares things with me that we don't share with hardly any other people, only because very few people that don't study don't understand. It's not because I know any intimate secrets or anything like that. That's not the point. The point is when you start working on yourself and you start to get distinctions and ahas and bulb-on moments, there's very few people you can talk to about that because they just don't get it. They don't understand what you're talking about. What do you mean your subconscious mind? What do you mean self-sabotage? What do you mean by all those things? And so it becomes very difficult to share at that level with other people. But he and I do that, and a circle of other friends as well. But that's what's brought us close, is our desire to learn and grow and study.
So you've been teaching a lot of people through the years, helping them how to get better. And now you're in a program called Uncover Genius. So why do you think everyone has a genius in them?
Well, there's two things about that. First of all, I believe that everybody's got brightness in them. And the reason is not because I'm a future fortune teller. It's because over the last almost 30 years, I've worked in over 25 countries around the world, teaching Fortune 500 companies and hundreds of thousands of mom and pop businesses how to increase their income, get their dreams, make their dreams come true, with a heavy flavor of personal growth as well as financial growth, particularly sales and team and leadership growth. And so, but what I found is that everybody, if in the right environment, people pop out. All of a sudden their eyes go clear. They have aha moments. And I always was intrigued about that. And I asked one of my students once, I really have a hard time telling people what we do. What do you think we do? And he said it really well. He goes, I don't know. He says, you just kind of uncover the genius in people. I go, what do you mean by that? Well, I walk out of your programs, I feel alive, I feel energetic, I feel like I can do just about anything, I'm more effective, I get my goals. I go, so I pursue that. And what I learned is that almost every indigenous culture, not every, but the ones that I've studied over the years, whether it's in Asia, Latin America, Europe, whatever, all had this belief that we are born genius, or we're born with a guiding God or a goddess or a deity or something like that that would infuse us with protection or some kind of a gift. And didn't matter what language it was, we were all given something according to the legend, according to scriptures. And so it collaborated with what I thought is that you and I have been given some kind of brilliance. I call that your genius. I don't know if you're going to be, it's not something you had to earn, it's not something you had to take a test for, something you were given at birth. It's yours, and as we get older though, what happens is that genius goes away. We used to get in trouble because we talked too much and we cried too much, we did all that stuff, but what if that was part of the genius that was still trying to emote? But we're taught, be good, do as you're told, conform. And so conformity took the place of creativity. And so then we just kind of shrunk back down. And so what my friend Alfredo and I are doing, we've been friends and partners for over 20 years, is that we've created a process to help uncover the genius. Not create it, because it's already there. That's important. It's already there. You got it. I saw you on stage today. You said very few words, and the crowd was like, oh my God. And then you watch, boom, 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 you watch their genius pop out. Because that moment when you have that aha, my experience is that's when you're touching closer to that piece you were born with, which was whole, complete, and unbroken, which is still there. But we have all these layers of conformity and do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, thrown on top of it. So it's about uncovering it. And so that's what we're about. And Alfredo worked with me and one of my other great students and partners, and we wrote a book which is coming out this year called Uncovering Genius.
Okay.
How to do it.
I think that's wonderful. That's amazing. Everyone's got a genius in them. So you being a genius in these financial groups and also in the personal development, do you see the world, or what do you see the world coming to crypto and expanding into the crypto markets?
Well, as we found out today, first of all, I'm not an expert on crypto. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well, I think nobody's an expert in crypto because there's a lot of...
Here's the point. The point is this. I love to learn. So I'm happy to sit back and learn the crypto stuff from you and from other people. And we have 150 people coming together to try to figure it out. And in about 3 or 4 blinding moments just today, all of a sudden for all of us, you and myself, bulbs went on. Oh my gosh, that's what we're talking about. So that's the part I love. As I love the learning. I love the learning part of it and learning new for myself. And I forgot, the second part of this genius thing you asked me about is the reason we created it is because I'm looking for my own. I just hope I have one. It's my belief, guys, I've seen everybody has them, but you just kind of doubt. I still doubt myself sometimes. I just want to find, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I really good at? I've narrowed it down to teaching. I got that. But teaching what and to who and why and how do I do it better? So for me, it's a never-ending journey, and I love it.
So if you're still looking for your genius, what can we expect of us, right?
I would expect you to be on the same kind of a journey.
Okay.
Because that journey is part of your genius.
Okay.
If you start to recognize it. but we make mistakes. We veer off pattern, and we get and then we make a mistake, and we go this way and this way and this way and this way. Ultimately, the Buddhists have a symbol called a unalome. Unalome. It's one of the most common tattoos in the world, and what it depicts is a person's journey. So it kind of starts like this when you're young. You're trying to figure out where you are, and you hang out with this group and that group, and you don't know where you're going, and you're just trying all kinds of things. But as you get older, you make more mistakes. Your mistakes start to not be so big. They get smaller and smaller and smaller until after a while, you get on track to what you're supposed to be doing. And the Buddhists say that's nirvana up there when you get to, or enlightenment, right? It's not that you stop making mistakes. You just make smaller ones, but you make them really fast and you correct them, kind of like a guidance system in an aircraft, okay? So that's the journey we're all on. And I think when everybody understands that that's the journey and mistakes are part of it, then all of a sudden there's a sigh of relief, and then that peels off another layer that's hiding the genius. And some people don't give a damn. And like Einstein, guys like this, and they did bad in school, they just rejected it all and just did their own thing. So they peeled away a lot of those onion layers up front and just did what they did. They wouldn't even consider themselves geniuses, but we look at them that way. All
right. Yeah, you're right on that. So we just look at the very intelligent people as genius, but we don't recognize our own. That's amazing. So I know we have a little time, and I want to thank you for your time on this interview.
Sure.
So here on Heroes podcast, I like to close with this question, which is, why do you consider yourself a hero?
Well, I don't consider myself a hero, so sorry to disappoint you on that one. But I think that and I think that the people are watching this, if you're watching this, you're the hero. Because a hero, one thing about a hero is what we know about heroes, they go on a journey. All the hero stories are the same. Different face, different story, but basically the same. It's a quest to find something. And in the process, there's a transformation that takes place. There's a book called The Hero of a Thousand Faces. The journey is always the same. Wizard of Oz, Star Wars, Ulysses in Greek mythology, it's the same thing. We're all on a journey to go someplace, to find something, kill a dragon, whatever the case, transform. Then you come home and you transform the place that you came from. And that's kind of my journey. And I hope that everybody does it, because once you become closer to what you're supposed to be doing, now your job is to help other people find theirs. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Blair. That's amazing. I'm mind blown right now. Also with the genius part. So thank you very much for your time. It was amazing to have you here on Heroes Podcast and for you to talk to the Moneymakers community. Well, thank you. And thank you for doing the work that you're doing, because money's a very important piece. It's not the only piece of life, but it brings up all of the things that we want to have, and also brings up the barriers that stop us from having what we want to have. So money is important, but it's also a huge element in personal development.
Totally. It gives you power, it gives you whatever you want to do.
It gives you a reason to go for something that's not so easy sometimes, and you have to learn to overcome your obstacles, because how much money you have on the outside is a reflection of what's going on your inside.
Thanks a lot, Blair.
All right, thank you.
Pues Moneymakers, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí. Hoy tuvimos a Blair Singer desde Estados Unidos, escritor de Vendedores Perros, probablemente han escuchado ese libro, y ya nos platicó de toda su historia. Recuerden suscribirse al canal y nos vemos en la próxima entrevista de Héroes Podcast. Nos vemos.